Hola, mijos. Sorry I couldn't be there today or this week, but this lesson is to cover you for the week as far as the lessons are concerned, as well as prepare you for the unit test that is due on September 11th. Now, that is Monday. Now, this whole lesson will be a review, but I do want to tell you that if you still do not understand anything or a specific concept, that I will be there Monday afternoon, and that would be a great time for like a question answer session to clarify any of the things you do not understand. Additionally, if you have a question over the weekend or what have you, I don't want to leave you hanging, so feel free to text me and I will text you back at my earliest convenience just so you have all your questions answered. Now this week, so the first bullet point is what I just said, that we're going to be reviewing everything since your scheduled unit test is on September 11th. We're going to be reviewing verbs in Spanish. Now, verbs are super easy to identify in Spanish, whereas in English it gets a little unclear. And then finally, we're going to talk about verb conjugations and how you can change the verb according to who you're talking about or who's doing the verb. Okay, so first off, cognates or cognados. Cognates, just to review, are words that are in Spanish that look like the English equivalent, or vice versa. So that when you go to basically a Spanish-speaking world or any other language for that matter, you'll be able to rely on cognates. And those cognates are words that look similar to what they are in English. So that can definitely help you get around. Okay. And here it is, el alfabeto. This is the video that we tried to play that one day in class. So instead of relying on the YouTube that we have no access to in the classroom, I embedded the video. So let's pray that this video works. Now, this video is the song is extremely catchy. You will need to know the alphabet when we are in class because I'll be asking you guys if there's accents over certain letters, and you'll need to be able to tell me that there is an accent over the, let's say, E, for example, but you'll need to tell me the letter in Spanish. And so this alphabet song, super cheesy, I know, but it gets stuck in your head and you will be awesome at the Spanish alphabet. Oops, went too far. No, I'm good. Okay, then we have adios, and adios is goodbye. Now the term bueno that's used here in the second bullet point, that means it does mean good, but it also just means well. So, well, I gotta go. So that's what bueno tengo clase means. It means, well, I have class. Then how you say bye, just instead of saying adios all the time, you can also say ciao. And yes, that is the same in Italian, except it is C-I-A-O, if I'm not mistaken. Then finally, we have hasta luego, and hasta means until, and luego means later. So that means until later. Then we have hasta mañana, which means until tomorrow or see you tomorrow. And tengo que irme means I've got to go. Not necessarily to the bathroom, but you've got to go. Okay, más repaso, more review, mijos. So, mucho gusto means nice to meet you. And then finally, we have this word encantado. Now, boys, you guys say encantado. But that A there in parentheses, girls, remember, you say encantada. And girls, whenever you're describing yourself, your adjectives 90% of the time end in an A, such as bonita. Then we have igualmente, which means equally, right back at ya, me too, all of the above. Same here. Okay. Last class, when I was there, or last week, we talked about our pronouns. So I even talked about Bob, right? And instead of using the name Bob, over and over and over. In English, we use a pronoun, and it's called he, right? So we have the same things in Spanish. So to go over them real quick, in that first box, we have yo, which means I. Then we have tú, which means you, informal. Then we have él, ella, and usted. So él means he, ella means she, and usted is the formal way of saying you. So you guys would use usted with me, Miss Amador, Miss Brown, Mr. Khan, Mr. Hellickson. But when it comes to your peers, you would use tú. Going over to the other side, nosotros and nosotras, those both mean we. Now, here we have vosotros and vosotras. Now, this one I got a question during the week on. Now, vosotros and vosotras, those two are only used in Spain. And it's something you guys would use with each other. So say you're talking to a buddy about, well, say you're talking to the entire class. Like, hey, did you guys do page 60 for your math homework? So the term you guys, you're talking to your peers. And this is when you would use the vosotros form. Or the question was an Odyssey where that you're talking to like a club of your peers, a club with a group of your peers. That you would use vosotros. It is the you guys part. But again, it is only used in Spain. Whereas if you look in the third box there, ellos, ellas, and ustedes, that term ustedes is you guys, or you all, or y'all, but it is used in all the other countries except Spain. So in Mexico, if you go down there and say, hey, did you guys do page 60 in your math? You would use ustedes for you guys. Then we have ellos and ellas, which means they. Now talking about ellos versus ellas, we have the term that ends in as. Now, females, as I was talking to the girls earlier, your adjectives always end in an A. Guys, your adjective usually ends in an L. So, same thing with nouns in Spanish. I was talking to you guys last week about how every noun has a gender. So, book, table, desk, candle, rug, all of those have gender. I know it's weird and it's hard to comprehend, but in Spanish, they have a gender. Okay, so we talked about escritorio, which is desk. El escritorio, it ends in an O, so it is masculine. Then we also talked about mochila, which is backpack. It ends in an A, so it is feminine. So how you say the word the is different for masculine and feminine nouns. So if it's mochila, how you say the backpack is la mochila. If you want to say cuaderno, notebook, but you want to say the notebook, then it would be el cuaderno. So the two examples that I have here is el baloncesto, so that's masculino because it ends in an O. And then we have la comida, the food, and it's feminine because it ends in an A. Okay, now that is done with the review. Now let's get to the new stuff, or the stuff that you have learned this week in your Odyssey Word program if you're up to date. Now, Spanish verbs, or just verbs in general, are so much easier to wrap your brain around than they are in English. There's a little bit more of a system to it, so if you love you like to see patterns and to have that rhyme or reason, then learning a foreign language might come easy to you because Spanish is full of patterns. So verbs in Spanish, they all end in AR, ER, or IR. So you have those three categories: AR verbs, ER verbs and IR verbs. So an example for the second bullet point that I have for AR verbs is bailar. See how it ends in AR? That means to dance. Then our second verb I have listed there is comer, and that ends with an ER. That means to eat. And then we have abrir, which ends in IR, and that means to open. So we have bailar, comer, and abrir. They're all verbs. So you have a mixture, like we say, I dance, right? That is 2 words. I dance, 2 words. But in Spanish, you take off the ending of the verb, that AR, smash it together with another letter, and it's 1 word in Spanish. So I'll show you on the next slide. Okay, so those are my 3 verbs again in number 1. Bailar, comer, and abrir. And I hope you're taking notes on this. Your first step in conjugating verbs is you rip off that ending, AR, ER, or IR. Okay, so you cover it up. And so you're left with, instead of bailar, you're left with bail. For comer, you have com, and abrir, you just have abr. Okay, so then now we got to find out who our subject is. So going back to that box I just showed you with all of our pronouns, I, you, he, she, we, you all, they, we got to figure out who our subject is. So that's totally up to you. It depends on what you want to say. So if you want to say I dance, then we can say I dance. If you want to say they eat, then we will be saying that. Okay, so again, we're left with bail, com, and abra. So in the same format, the first box being yo, the second box being tu, etc. Back to our handy dandy chart, and we have AS here, okay, for the tu form. So we smash that AS together with bail, and we have bailas. So you dance is tu bailas or just bailas, and so on. And there is that vosotros form also. So y'all dance or you guys dance, bailar to bail, adding that ending ais. Now we have vosotros bailais.